Flash that's just the shitty person. You're talking about Reverse Flash. Reverse Flash is a real character. It is just some dude who hates the Flash. So he just does everything to make the Flash's life worse. But sometimes it's really petty. No way. Yeah, it's real. Here, Reverse Flash. You've probably seen him in that viral clip where it's the, it's me, Barry. You remember when you prematurely ejaculated in front of whatever her name is? I'll just pull up the clip. This is the one that gets floated around all the time.
Remember when you were making out with your first girlfriend, and you came right as she touched your leg? It was me, Barry. I jerked you off at super speed so it'd seem like you nutted at just a woman's touch.
Oh yeah, that's the one that floats around all the time. It's a real character though. Granted, I don't think DC's brave enough to have a supersonic meat jerker in official lore, but he does just do everything to make the Flash's life a little worse. In the CW show, he fakes being in a wheelchair to fuck with Barry. How does that even fuck with Barry? So every time Barry sees him, he's just in a wheelchair? How does that make Barry's life worse? Yeah, I guess unless Barry just really hates people confined to wheelchairs, I suppose. So just like roll in front of him and maniacally laugh knowing that Barry's uncomfortable. He pretends to be a caring mentor. See, like, that's super lame. In fact, I don't care, Barry, and I'm not teaching you good things. Haha. He's such a goofy character. Thanks to the bitch boss. Why does Reverse Flash... So why does Reverse Flash hate the Flash? I don't remember. The top 10 worst things Reverse Flash has done. I have to know.
Learning that you're intended to become your idol's greatest rival and a psychotic mass killer isn't really the best day in the office. However, it happened to Eobard Thawne, aka the Reverse Flash.
I know he actually does kill a lot of people.
But what are some of the
So this might be a
things
serious
that
top
Eobard
10.
Thawne has ever done over his various and seemingly infinite incarnations? That's what we're exploring today. So, in the wise words of an old Italian man,
hey, Aaron.
Let's go. An intent boyfriend killer. After his research on the Speed Force while at residency in the Flash Museum had gained some traction, Eobard fell in love with a reporter named Rose who had been hired by Central City Science Today to interview him. However,
God, he looks like such a dweeb.
Engaged. So his future self interfered with the timeline, killing Rose's fiance in an attempt to get her to love him, but it didn't work. So he proceeded to kill every man she had started seeing after her fiance, and eventually every man who she had ever dated at all. So
how does that help him though?
Steadfastly refused to believe that her fiance was gone for good.
This guy's just a fucking idiot.
Friends. However, she continued to just brush off Thawne's romantic advances, eventually retaliating physically when he attempted to kiss her. In anger, his future self traumatized the reporter as a child, rendering her mute and causing her to be institutionalized for the rest of her life. Although, if she was still friends with the Eobard,
who writes this? This actually feels like something I would have read as a child on DeviantArt. So his crush never loved him. So his future self killed her boyfriend. She still didn't love him. So he killed every man on Earth until it was just the two of them. And she still didn't love him. So then his future self traumatized her as a child, rendering her mute and institutionalized. And now they're married. This is incredible. What great lore. Yeah, this is only number 10 too.
he was just in love with her. She only had him around for attention at that point. Any good person wouldn't be friends with someone who was in love with them if they didn't feel the same. Just saying. I'm causing a few of you to rethink your relationships, huh? In at 9.
I mean, if that's what a healthy relationship
this doesn't
sounds
sound
like.
like a lot, but trust me. Not even Batman was saved from this devil. During the events of the Flashpoint comic arc, Barry brought back to Batman a letter from his father, who is alive in the Flashpoint timeline as Batman. It's the only contact that Batman has had with his parents ever since they died.
Oh,
So
no.
it would be a shame if something were to happen to it. Oh wait, that's right. Thawne decides to rip it to shreds so that it couldn't even be reassembled. It also didn't help that.
I mean, it's only he only wrote 2 sentences. Like, at that point, just knowing that his dad wrote him something is probably good enough. I mean, I don't think this one's too bad. Let me read the dialogue. Is this what you did after you killed me? Before you died with your world? Wow, that's aggressive. A message sent across time, a letter to your dead son. I'm not the hero of this story. Was it consoling Thomas? Oh, was it consoling Thomas, knowing he would have it? That though he lost you, he could always see you loved him. Did that make you feel better, Thomas? As you burned. I mean, okay. Hey, I don't think this one's that big of a deal.
Decides to rip it to shreds so that it couldn't even be reassembled. It also didn't help that Thomas was the reason that Thawne was killed in that timeline, so yeah, this was certainly a way to get back at Thomas, even though he was dead in this timeline, which was probably the best way to get revenge. But like, this was still super unnecessary.
I'm just gonna kind of blast through it.
The reason that Flashpoint is a thing. I mean, if Thawne had never killed Barry's mother, Barry would never have had to go back to save her, resulting in the Flashpoint timeline. Depending on what version of time travel, or I guess what theory of time travel you believe. Either there was an original timeline where Barry's mother didn't die, but he still became
he killed
the Flash,
Barry's mom.
or did a whole other thing. After being stranded in our present after killing Barry's mother due to a lack of speed, Thawne decides that the only way to get back...
Pardon? After killing Barry's mother due to a lack of speed, so she died of being slow? What does that mean? She couldn't run a 4-second 40, thus she died. You're too slow to exist in this timeline, Mom. You're cringe. Man, I kind of want to start reading Reverse Flash comics. This shit sounds amazing. Oh, you got trapped due to a lack of speed. Ah. Okay, so he was too slow to make it back to her. So she died because your son isn't fast enough. Gotcha. Alright, I thought it was the mom who wasn't, like, up to snuff with the track team. Thanks to the resub, Retro, Joestar, Maddie, Easy, Tool, Coach, and Juan.
Back to his time was to get the Flash's help. So he kills Harrison Wells, takes over his identity, wears his face, and creates the particle accelerator early. 6 years early to be exact, since originally the accelerator explodes in 2020, thus creating a whole new timeline of events, similar to what Nora does when she helps Barry destroy the Thinker satellite in the season 4 finale, advancing time by 5 years. This time, Thawne advanced it by 6 years. Using the face of another man to train Barry, gain his
this was the fake mentor thing you mentioned.
Back to his own time. That
Not
in the Arrowverse, we get our world and a wedding of Iris West and Barry Allen interrupted by a group of fascist soldiers from an alternate reality known as Earth X. The classic Germany wins World War II scenario. However, these soldiers are accompanied by evil versions of Green Arrow and Supergirl. The evil version of Flash.
They didn't even change Supergirl's costume. The evil version of Supergirl is the same Supergirl, but I guess just with shady morals now. They couldn't even give her a cool evil costume.
Green Arrow and Supergirl. The evil version of Flash is missing, however he doesn't.
They did? Oh, that wasn't a picture of her? Okay.
Which this crossover also technically has a crossover with, but they're just brought into real life. Same, kind of like how they did with the Vixen crossover. But the evil version of the Flash in this crossover, oh, you bet your ass it's Thawne. wearing Walls' face no less. Presumably having killed the Barry of Earth X, Thawne helps Overgirl and Dark Arrow lead a group
Okay,
of
that's
fascist soldiers on
better.
the attack, nearly taking control of Earth 1, if not for the Justice League that hadn't officially been formed yet. Even the Joker turned on Red Skull when he learned that he was actually a fascist and not some kook in a costume. Reverse Flash is worse than Joker. Confirmed. Halfway through in a number
Well, I don't know about that.
Barry's
I
father.
don't know enough.
In the process of killing Barry's mother out of anger since he couldn't manage to kill Barry, Thawne ended up framing his father for the murder and gets him sent to prison. Obviously, this wasn't really avoidable because of how time works or whatever, but this still causes Barry a great deal of pain.
I would imagine.
To be highly intelligent and to have a particular appearance. However, as he grew up, they became concerned
What
about
in the fuck kind of art is this? My name was Eobard Thawne. I was an only child. Bro, this family, it's like the Jetsons. Wow. I mean, I would have guessed this is a villain already, this whole family.
lack of social skills and tendency to daydream, which was frowned upon in their very regimented society. Hoping that caring for a sibling would help Eobard adjust, his
They're from the
parents had a
future?
second son.
Man, even if they are from the future, what happens in the future? Everyone gets hit by an ugly beam? Like, what is going on here? Like, everyone's like their face is elongated and wrinkled, and it's weird.
Concerned about his lack of social skills and tendency to daydream, which was frowned upon in their very regimented society. Hoping that caring for a sibling would help Eobard adjust, his parents had a second son, Robert. Eobard struggled to manage his little brother and chaffed when reprimanded by their parents for his periodic outbursts that were triggered by his frustration. But later down the line, he applied to the Flash Museum to study the Speed Force, but it was rejected. So he started researching it illegally. But then he was caught by Robert, who was an officer in the Science Police. This caused Eobard a great deal of pain, which is understandable.
Oh, I have to look them up. The Science Police? That's pretty cool. God damn it. Science Police. Our law enforcement task force. Like, what do they tackle that the normal authorities won't? I see you didn't factor in the baseline variables here. You're going to jail. What do they do? Here's the research: Six Path, Scorp, Jace, Steel, Danny, Jinx, and Joestar. Stop people from researching dangerous shit? I guess, but would that not fall under the jurisdiction of the normal police? If they're like researching weapons or something? Arrest flat earthers. So anyone they arrest anyone who has conspiracy beliefs. Alright. I can get behind that, I guess.
Given that your brother's altering reality. It is mentioned in Judeo-Christian religions, and it was an ordinary spear before Roman soldier Longinus used it to pierce the side of Jesus Christ after he died on the cross, resulting in its immense supernatural powers. The second season of the...
You telling me Jesus Christ is in DC Comics? Alright, excuse me, I need to look up, what kind of powers did he have? Jesus of Nazareth, New Earth. He was one of Charles Xavier's mutants. Oh wait, that's Marvel. Whatever. Oh, he looks so sad. The resurrection of Christ is disproven by science. What a cool story arc. Wubba lubba dub dub. They really bring a lot into the fold here. But then, I mean, he is public domain, so they have every right to. Wow. Very interesting lore. Exeter said feel good, balls, Darth, Mars, and the Prime, absolutely. Look at his powers. Healing, molecular reconstruction, resurrection, weather manipulation, and exorcism. I feel like there's so few instances in comic books where an exorcism is a helpful power. Like, it's such a tedious process. Who else has the power of exorcisms in the DC universe? Oh, Constantine makes sense. You're telling me oh, wait, these are trending pages. I was going to say, there's no way Superman's performing exorcisms. Oh, actually, no, wait, these are characters that perform exorcisms. Who the fuck did Clark Kent exorcise? There's some Jerry and Faustin, the Prime Auntie. He performed an exorcism on Batman. Bro, I need to start reading DC comics. Holy shit, this sounds unhinged. Like, he just got, like, ordained by the Catholic Church or something, and they gave him the authority. He's the Resublinaro. That's weak bait. DC Comics had a real series for Jesus planned called the Second Coming series before it was canceled. The plot for it would have been Jesus sent on a most holy mission by God to learn what it takes to be a true messiah of mankind from a superhero called Sun Man. Well, it's not too late. In fact, now might be the perfect time to finally release that. Hold on, I gotta go pee real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm back.
What?
Thanks for resub. Donut, Bloody in the Prime, Scuda, GRN, and Pepe. And the resub gamer. Let's see the last two things here.
Our show, Legends of Tomorrow, revolves around the Legion of Doom, composed of Damien Dark from a time before he was killed by the Green Arrow, Malcolm Merlin after just watching Damien die on TV, and Thawne. Captain Cold, Heatwave, and Rip Hunter were also among the members, but the main unholy trinity were these three. They did
But what does the Spear of Jesus do?
And in this reality, Eobard Thawne made himself mayor of Central City and the owner of Star Labs. Also in the present time, not 2040 or 2140 or whenever he was born, which is weird. But still wanting status and fame, he would use his genius and company to solve various problems around the world, to which he gained various awards and influence over the world. He also had the demonic speedster that was chasing him, Black Flash, as his personal pet prisoner.
How many Flashes are there?
Of his cell. Create a whole new world where he isn't the Flash, like I explained in number 8. However, in the Dark Multiverse version of the story, Barry doesn't get his speed back, instead dying when he and Thomas attempt to restore his power. So the vacuum left by the Flash is filled by none other than, you guessed it, Eobard Thawne, who claims to be the Flash and proceeds to try and end the war between the Amazons and Atlanteans by threatening and killing, which obviously just works out in his favor and he becomes a hero. Just kidding. Instead, this causes the Atlanteans and the Amazons
the reverse
in the first 5 episodes of Flash Season 8. However, in Episode 4, spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, it's revealed that Eobard Thawne, who looks like Wells again, but is using his real name, creates his own version of Flashpoint, where thanks to the new negative still force, instead of saving Barry's mother, he manages to kill Barry as a child, as he set out to do so many years ago. Or I guess Will set out to do. I don't know, time travel is weird, man. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm a little confused. Why did he keep targeting his mom? He could have just killed Barry, like, as a kid. It would have been easier, I guess. Like, what's Barry gonna do as a child to fight back? Like, how does Barry fight him off as a kid? Oh, because he wants Barry to suffer. Right, I keep forgetting it. Like, his main motivation is just to make his life miserable. True. So it would defeat the purpose if he killed him. So why? Okay, why don't I just look it up? Okay, let's see. Why does Reverse Flash hate Flash? He hates the Flash because he was so damn obsessed over him that he started to become like him, only to realize his destiny is meant to be his greatest enemy. So that really ruined his life and made him hate the Flash. To me, that sounds like he doesn't really have a reason to hate the Flash as much as he does. He's a tier 1 Caleb, tier 1 Zay, the resub Kinray, Zinni, Brandon, and Croissant. The Prime Pokey. YouTube video explains it better. Okay. Yeah, this character's so wild. He's so fucking dumb. Well, I guess I can't say like every version of the character's dumb, but my god, this is wild. The psychotic life of Reverse Flash. Which one? What explains it? Is it the psychotic life of Reverse Flash? I don't really want the whole thing, I just want the gist. Okay. The second one? What? There's a Prime Flapjack. The short. Why? Why would I do that?
The Reverse Flash is one of my favorite villains within the DC universe. He's so psychotic, he's so crazy, and his entire purpose is to
True.
just mess with Barry Allen, the Flash, one of my favorite superheroes. But did you
He's a
know that
prime
before
soft.
2009, he was pretty much insignificant? You see, in 2009, there was a book called Flash Rebirth, in which Jeff Johns wanted to reinvent the Reverse Flash to be someone significant within the Flash's life, to be his Joker, per se. And it was at that moment that we got the Reverse Flash that many of you know today, the one that has been in TV shows and in cartoon movies, and in the video games, the psychotic and psychotic things. Classic storyline titled The
Okay, here we
Return
go.
of Barry Allen. Thawne becomes Barry Allen, in a sense. You see, in his original origin, Barry Allen went to the future where he found Eobard Thawne using an old Flash costume to commit his crimes. Barry Allen destroyed the suit and...
Why is Eobard Thawne so fucking repulsive? Like, this guy looks like inbred. Every single goddamn panel I've seen of this guy makes him look truly abhorrent. Maybe that's why he's just so goddamn mad.
To commit his crimes. Barry Allen destroyed the suit and everything that Eobard Thawne had built and created in this future. He then tried to go back in time to steal Barry Allen's wife, Iris. He figured he would get back at Barry Allen by going and taking his wife away from him. When she turned him down, he killed her. Barry then found a second love, Fiona Webb, and Thawne threatened to kill her as well on their wedding day. So, Barry Allen was forced to kill him. He basically drove Barry Allen into murdering him. This led down a long path that would involve Barry Allen running into the future to live there with Iris until he was needed.
This is so old school comic. Get up, you can't be dead. But he is. And Flash killed him. That is vintage. Can't help but appreciate it.
Until he was needed in the Crisis of Infinite Earths. But this isn't even close to their messed up history together. Because in his second origin, Thawne is still a scientist in the future, but this time he went back in time to replace Barry Allen. He even had facial reconstruction to make it happen, and he stole the cosmic treadmill from an antique shop. He then went back in time and he learned that he was in fact the Flash's greatest enemy, not his replacement. This caused a break in his mind, and he was convinced that he was Barry Allen. Central City had forgotten about him. He battled against Wally and Jay until Wally tricked him into returning to his own time.
Okay.
You see, those were the only two appearances of Eobard Thawne that were...
Still not like a really strong reasoning to hate him that much. Like, I don't see the real drive. Like, yeah, that's frustrating, like, damn. So I can't replace him.
Significant before Flash Rebirth, and it was during Flash Rebirth that Eobard Thawne was turned into a legit evil character. It's because of Thawne that Barry Allen has turned into the Black Flash, because he has now discovered that his powers are derived from the negative Speed Force. You see, Eobard Thawne had basically created a negative version of Barry Allen's Speed Force. He then murders Johnny Quick and he traps Black Flash Barry Allen and Max Mercury within the negative Speed Force. But that's not enough for him. He tries to murder Wally West's kids in front of their mother, Linda Park. The only thing that saves them is Jay and Bart Allen. But he then quickly defeats Jay and he threatens to kill Bart. He is of course stopped and he proceeds to inform Barry that everything that has ever gone wrong in Barry's life is because of Thawne. Even when he would fall down the stairs into the basement, Thawne tripped him using super speed. When he lost a friend, that was because Thawne messed with him. To seal up
see, how can you not appreciate that? That's so stupid. When he fall down the stairs, it's because Reverse Flash came and tripped him. That's like some shit you would hear Alex Jones say. Like, the reason why this is in my search history is because 11th dimensional Alex Jones actually came and framed me with it. Fucking trickster's at it again.
Everything that he has done is seal up the entire Barry Allen being screwed over by Thawne thing. He decides that he's going to go kill Iris West again, and he takes off to do that. Luckily, Barry and Wally run so fast that Barry becomes the lightning bolt that grants him his Barry powers in the past. Then, using this speed, Barry and Thawne battle it out throughout time, and eventually, Barry wins.
Jesus Christ.
And I also wanted to mention something else that isn't really twisted or sick, but this is where things get weird for Eobard Thawne's timeline. You see, Thawne's original origins are still in his timeline, and so are his deaths. He has messed with his own timeline so much that everything is valid at the same time. So the original Eobard Thawne that Barry Allen killed by snapping his neck, he comes back as a zombie Black Lantern in The Blackest Night. He battles against Barry Allen in The Blackest Night and eventually runs off to find himself in the modern day, the one that Barry Allen just stunned. The dead version finds the living version, and That's where he's stopped in his tracks, and the rogues end up defeating him. The White Lantern appears, reviving the zombie Thawne, making him alive again, and it is then that Thawne supposedly runs back in time, setting everything in motion where he'll eventually come back for Flash Rebirth. It's confusing, but awesome at the same time. Now, in yet another origin of Thawne and another twisted thing in his past, it turns out that he had a brother that took all of his parents' attention. He erased his brother from history, making himself an only child and the star of his family. And this prevented his brother from becoming a cop and stopping him from messing with the Speed Force. He finds a potential love interest, but she doesn't love him back.
Yeah, we learned about this one.
His speed to go back to her childhood and traumatize her, forcing her to become mute and institutionalized. He did all of this to make his own life better for himself, and then he runs off to the Flashpoint comic. Now, in the movie version of Flashpoint, there's an extra scene in which the Reverse Flash got the rogues to work for him by putting bombs on him. Just a twisted way that he forces people to do his bidding. How can you stop a guy from putting a bomb on you when he can run as fast as the Reverse Flash?
This is such a wacky character. Holy shit. Wow. Are all comics like this? Right? Like I said, I haven't really kept up with comics much, but my Jesus. Fucking 50 different timelines and 400 different alternate universes. My lord. Is that fun to keep up with? That just seems like a headache. And it feels like there's never any stakes. I remember I watched a video on the death of Superman on how it actually broke comics, and it really feels like that's super accurate. I really think they need just like one single canon timeline. They can have all the spin-offs elsewhere, but I really think they need to stick with one actual canon timeline. Condense all of the ideas, take what worked, what didn't work from all of the other ones, and make an actual single line to follow. I just feel like that'd be much, much better. Maybe they do, I don't know. But it seems like all of chat said that this is how to go. They did do that. Thanks to resub Kalawa, Spartan, Chicago, and Tier 1 Captain. They've done that several times, but it always gets rebooted. That it's completely worthless. Have you watched the new... No, I haven't watched the new Better Call Saul episode yet. This was a fun little rabbit hole. Yeah, Reverse Flash is super goofy. Fun goofy.